Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's the Mac and welcome back to a brand new showcase from Wargame Design Studio. It's called Sword and Siege Crusades Book 1. I'm thankful to be able to showcase this game. It was given to me for review of the channel and to showcase to my viewers and everybody who wants to get their hand on this beautiful game. So, wow, completely new series for the Wargame Design Studio catalog. This Crusades Book 1, and it's just as you saw in the picture, and the title of the game, it is centered around the First Crusade. First and second, not the first, we're going to that, but the real Crusades, not the original Crusade. That was a total disaster, but the ones that are when there was some real badass fighting going on. Okay, so brand new game, same kind of concept, same kind of system as old Wargame Design Studio work around. As you can see, same interface, same toolbars, but a completely different day and age and an era of warfare. And this time this will go back as the furthest back in the Wargame Design Studio catalog, even pre-musket and pike, man. This is the sword fighting and bows and crossbows and the old, beginning of the middle ages, between like Middle Ages and end of the Viking era up to Renaissance, so to speak. The thought of this whole series to be covered, but this first game is the first covering the First Crusade, basically. So look, so this is the web page here. We got the news, and it's right there, released. And I gotta tell you, I've been playing this game a bit. I was actually giving it a preview copy a couple of days before the launch, and I really enjoyed it, man. Really fun game, really different tactics, different way of thinking again, as an old series of Wargame Design Studio. There's something for everybody, man. This different, all these eras of warfare covered. It's just so fun to explore and so much to learn and read and understand what actually went down. I mean, it's as I've said many times, it's like a history lesson, man. Every sort of era and section of these games. Yeah, so it's called Sword and Siege series, and this is Crusader Book 1. So probably there'll be more books. As we know, there was quite a lot of Crusades. There was a few of them that went on. So this could probably cover like all the Crusades in future. And I mean, look at the possibilities here, man. I mean, if they are now releasing a system and something to work around, the Sword and Siege era, or like Middle Ages and stuff. Oh, imagine all the conflicts they can cover and all the famous battles and everything. This is sort of opening up a whole new franchise of games. So wow, yeah, possibilities are endless, man. Yeah, so this you could yourselves just go into the website and have a look at this article here. They are covering quite a lot of famous battles, and there's also hypothetical scenarios and stuff. We're going to go in. We're going to have a look at the getting started. As you will see, the meat of the game. I mean, a very new feature of the game would be the siege part. To lay siege to fortified positions like walls and towers and gatehouses and stuff, and how to actually use your war machines to breach walls and attack the enemy and stuff. So that's a completely new thing that is implemented in these games. Look at this, looks pretty sweet, man. So they have a map here showing so what the Byzantine Empire, usually they would the Crusades would rendezvous at Constantinople, and then they would get passage through, and they would the fighting would go on here, and there was also a lot of pillaging and death on the road to the Holy Land. So they have a good this channel, man. Epic history, really good channel, man, for all you people who are don't always want to read tons of books and stuff. I mean, the library of YouTube is amazing. There's always someone who's covered something. And if you, I mean, you just want to watch a video about it, you'll learn a lot. And I love the maps and stuff that they have in these videos. It's really good. Uh, so, do check these out. These are really good. And even this Kings and Generals channel is awesome, man. They have some really good coverage of battles there. I usually, when I play games, these kind of hardcore strategy games, I take a lot of information and tactic advice from videos like this, because you get a completely different grasp of the battle when you're playing it, if you know what actually happened historically. So books, man, we got some good books here. Wow, some really good ones here. This book, I've actually read this book, The Crusades Through the Arab Eyes. This is a really good book, man. But that's probably the only one I've read of all these. So got some reading to do, man. Some really good. This looks like a sweet book there. Yeah, so some good book advice, and then they have screenshots. We're gonna have a look at that. So they have the almighty notes, man. That comes with the games. 57 pages, man. So it's no joke. It's pretty extensive, man. And if you don't want to read history books, all you need to do is read the notes, man. You have a really good understanding of the backdrop of this game. Yes, the first in the new series called Sword and Siege. Its initial development for this series based on the Musket and Pike series, first developed by John Tiller, actually. So he was thinking about this even back in the day. So that's pretty cool that they picked this up and for his legacy and worked on it and made it a complete game. That's a real nice tribute to the late John Tiller there. So they have the historical backdrop. So they're referring to this film Kingdom of Heaven. If you haven't seen this movie, man, I recommend it. It's a really, really good movie. Snippet of the Crusades. Very, very, very good movie, that. So that's actually the period of the Third Crusade. Retaking Jerusalem by Saladin in 1187. So, So they don't have this, as I was briefly. So actually, this is very important here. In terms of years covered, we're beginning with the siege of Nicaea in 1097. And ending with the siege of Damascus in 1148. So a period of 51 years for those of you who are veterans of the game starting in production. So so that's what they are covering there, 51 years. So they're not covering the People's Crusade, and that's because it was like a massive failure. It was just like a rabble of people marching down into the Holy Land, getting slaughtered. Basically, there was like no military. It wasn't really a military expedition. It was just like a rabble of people, who got slaughtered basically by the Arab forces there, because they were like really drilled and battle hardened people down there, and this rabble just came down there, and the women and children and men, they were slaughtered. So that's why they haven't included in the game, because it was like a doomed crusade from the start. I mean, it's just pure madness, but it's not actually in the game. They do have the Crusades of the Holy Lands, 11th and 12th centuries. They're the first real crusade. So what did they call that? They got the People's Crusade. Yeah. Was that hermit? What was his name? Peter the Hermit or something? He was called. Peter the Hermit, man. All right, so so this is when they came down. This crusade was badass, though. I mean, this was like a real military endeavor. They had the best that Europe could offer at the time. Armored knights and lancers and like good spear walls and fighting men, and it was like really well-disciplined army that came down there, and they actually thrashed the Arab forces in the start, because they were, a lot better the Arab forces were a lot better in mobile warfare. They had lots of cavalry and like bowmen, like bow cavalry that could harass, but once they got into melee, the European forces did have the edge of armor and armaments, and shields, swords, axes, and everything. They were better at close up fighting than the Arab forces were. But cavalry was still, I would say the Arabs had like the edge on cavalry. So it's all here, man. It's a really good read. I did read through this whole thing. It was very interesting. So the primary battles of the First Crusade were the siege of Nicaea, the Battle of Battle of Ascalon. I know I've read about, but the siege of Jerusalem, of course, and this as well. But some of the others I'm not that familiar with, which would be fun to explore in the game. So they have the period between the First and the Second Crusade. Yeah, so there was an area of what does it say? Between 1099 and 11, the area known as the Levant was embroiled in a constant state of war. The Kingdom of Jerusalem, with Baldwin the First ruling as its first king after the death of his brother Godfrey, sought to consolidate and expand his territories. There were still pockets of Muslims controlling that needed to be taken. With a continued presence, a pilgrim's journey to Jerusalem, and the money they brought was extremely perilous. Yeah, so it was a very dangerous endeavor to travel down there. So it actually tells you a lot, and they also touch upon the Second Crusade. It's actually covered in the game as well, so that's interesting. So what's different about this game is a hex is 40 meters, and each turn represents 10 minutes. I think if you play with the 15-minute time period, the hexes are actually 100 meters, if I'm not mistaken. I think it says that on this. So now we have a whole new section here, Sword and Siege. So you press that. I think I read it. Yeah, so it says the 40-meter hexes, 10-minute turns, the 100-meter hexes, and 15-minute turns. So there's different kinds of scale if you wish to play that. Units are normally at the company, battery, or squadron or battalion level. So that's going to be included in the titles coming. So they have a section of how to play the Crusader games. So yeah, so the first thing you'll notice, there are no cannons or there's no gunpowder and stuff. It's all like siege weapons, swords, bows, spears, cavalry and stuff. So it's completely different in that regard. And the thing about the battles, that some of the sieges actually lasted for months and stuff, and that obviously wouldn't be like playable to sit and play like 450 turns or 500 turns for laying siege to a castle, So what they usually have done to those scenarios is that they, what the scenario covers is the actual, maybe let's say they laid siege like 4 months to a castle, right? And then in the last couple of weeks or last week, they actually did the main assault and breached the walls and defeated the defenders. So that would be what the scenario would cover, not those 400 days of waiting. So the siege engines are going to play a big part, I think, in these games. That's why they've taken so much into that. So there's some stuff here that I mean, the battering ram we all know about, the siege tower I knew, and the hot oil and sand, that you could pour down on the defenders. Ballista and trebuchet I was familiar with. The mangonel and the onager. These I didn't actually know what they were called historically, but they are your your good old catapults. I think there might be a picture of them somewhere in the getting started. Yeah, we're going to go into this later on. Was it this one, or let me see if I can find it. Yeah, okay. Well, that wasn't actually the best. The user manual, yeah. So we'll just continue with the notes and we'll go into that. But they're explained here. Siege engines, to go over that, how they are used, and how siege towers are used. It's all actually in the getting started, so that is, I've already played that actually off camera, so, but we can have a look at it. So there are different kind of wall hexes as well. They have standard walls. They have tower hexes. They have gate hexes. So this is all about classically holding the gate. Whoever holds the gate can pass forces through it. If you're not holding the gate, obviously you can't move your forces through it and stuff. So this was, and the tower hexes are usually higher, of course, and they have a better visibility if you occupy a tower and stuff. So it's all sort of self-explanatory, I would say. And here's actually a guide on how to conduct a siege in the Crusaders. So yeah, and usually, and the siege towers, 75 men are the other ones that can fit into that. We're gonna have a look at that later on. So they have the mounted archers, mounted spears. That's what the Arab forces would mostly use. Then you have heavy mounted knights, lightly mounted knights. And they have cavalry armor explained. So this would be the numbers. So if they have armor rating 0, horse and rider have no extra padding. So if you would have knight, you have horse is a large European breed warhorse with heavy padding and metal strips around head and neck. Rider has heavy padding, full body mail, a metal helmet, metal gauntlets, large leather, and full metal covered shields and stuff. So pretty cool. Foot archers. Archers were very important. Crossbowmen, of course. They were the missile units. They could be very devastating if used correctly. You have javelins, man, skirmishers. That was still something that was used as well. Spearmen, swordsmen. They have infantry armor. There's even ships, which is pretty cool. For the first titles in Sword and Siege series, ships are to be seen only as a symbolic of the role that they played in battles and will not be active participants. Okay, for example, in the Siege of Acre, some ships will be represented transports of both men and war supplies, and others will be considered blockaders. Once on the map, they can neither move nor fire a weapon. So they are not using that much of that in this title then. So weather. And how there's a section how they actually made the maps and all this biography and stuff. And then they have they go over all the scenarios. This is quite common that they have in their notes all the scenarios of the game. We can have a look at that later in the game itself. So you have a user manual. So I haven't actually read through this yet, but it looks like a lot of mechanics and stuff. If you're like a seasoned veteran of these games, there's a lot you will already know. How to move in like line or column formations and different values, turns and phases, map views. Obviously, unit types is going to be new. Sappers are also something that's kind of newish, that their role played in these sieges. They were like lightly armed forces that moved up to walls, and like either they were digging like beneath the walls, so they would sort of collapse into themselves and weaken the structure of walls. And sometimes they would also place actually maybe not place explosives because there weren't any gunpowder at this certain stage, but they would be using mining equipment to weaken structures and walls, basically. They have you can actually form block formations and stuff at this age. Somewhat of primitive of what would become in the future there. So what else? Values. Yeah, they have the armor values and mala values and stuff. So there's just some new things. Definitely, but this manual is very good. If something you want to look up, you can do search. You can just click the certain area you want to, have a look at. So all in all, very good manual as always. These games always have very, very good manuals. So there was something I wanted to check real fast, actually. Yeah, so no, not that. There's like informations would be interesting to know. So line is used by infantry. It has an increased firepower over the formation and less vulnerable to enemy fire. It's a good defense information. So yeah, line for bowmen and stuff, I would imagine. Column formation can be used by infantry units. It's increased mobility of other formations, but firepower, but has less firepower. It's a good offensive formation when you need to assault over a bridge, through a gate, or along a wall. However, it is also vulnerable to enemy cavalry. And block is, of course, a defensive for cavalry, mounted, limbered, and unlimbered. So yeah, very good manual. Definitely always something good to check out. You get the getting started as I was briefly flicking through here. So this is a very, as always, I keep repeating myself, but I gotta say it. Getting started are always very good in these games. For people who are new to these games and look at like this, and they're like, "Oh man, what is this?" Getting started, man, is if you just take your time and read this, and while you're playing the game and follow the instructions, you will have like a huge grasp of the game already, like how to do things. And then, of course, if there are things that you are struggling with, just just look it up in the user manual and read about it there, and it will be very well explained there. So. Yeah, this is really good. Let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at the game. So there's actually a bunch of training scenarios that comes with this game. So they have the getting started. Then they have Crusader training. So this scenario is very basic and designed to introduce each new player to the nuances of laying siege to a walled city or castle. The second scenario is you're training as Crusader Commander. You have more units to move up and set up, including Trebuchet. So they're sort of expanding them bit by bit for you to sort of be able to grasp a full force attacking a stronghold, basically. And then in the end, they have the scenario is designed to introduce each player to the nuances of ground combat with both mounted and infantry troops deployed. Note that there are no objective hexes in this scenario. Also, unlike other combat units, muscle and mounted archers have the ability to make... Yeah, this is something new as well. Hit and run tactics. Something new with cavalry that if you move in... let's just open something up. It's getting started here. So you have optional rules. Are somewhat similar to the other games. These are what people would be familiar with from other games. Let's do this. There's actually music in the background and stuff. It's really sweet, man. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Might have to crank up the volume there. I'm not sure if this music is actually copyrighted, so I'm just going to turn it off and just have the background noise. But this is the game, man. This is what it looks like in your standard 2D zoom out, it's called, I think. No, this is the zoom out. First step, you have a whole complete. This is the extreme one. But then you have 3D, man. 3D looks sweet. Look at this. You have the wall here, defenders. So here you have mounted archers. And you got some badass knights lined up here. So in the getting started, here you have some different war machines to play around with. You have a Mongonel and another Mongonel there. You have a battering ram. No, yeah, this is a battering ram. You have the siege towers, which are pretty fun to play around with. So this is a gatehouse. You see they have a fort. They have the gate has 50 strength. The wall has a 75 strength. So what happens is if you move up something to this wall and start damaging it, those points go down. So like engineers do certain amount of damage every turn. The battering ram that does something, and these catapults, of course, will damage the wall as well. And when that's zero, when that's value is zero, the wall is breached basically. So, yeah, very nice game. I do like this the portraits they made here and stuff. What else? Is there like any? There could be alternate. Yes, the unit symbols are the classical NATO ones. These are actually different that they usually have. As you can see, they have. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's like a little symbol here with a lance on it. So that would be cavalry with lances, spears. You have bows. You have these badasses, battle axes, man. Armor 3, melee 3. So these guys are real tough guys. What else they got? Yeah, so they have the alternate one. Are these black ones? I know a lot of people like to play with. This is very standard, like markers for like when you play tabletop. These old tabletop. Board games, you usually have these very old style. It's pretty cool. I like it. It looks very vintage. But of course, I do think the graphical ones are really nice as well. Some really nice artwork here. So that what they would say was we were looking at is, for instance, as you can see, this is heavy mounted knights. The cavalry, they have lances, they have armor rating 6, which was that thing we looked up in the manual, for instance. I think we can just quick jump here. Yeah, so armor value, boom. Okay, so melee value. So a value of 6 means the unit receives 60% bonus. Oh, melee value, okay. The rating given to the unit represents the body armor the man unit normally wear. It is used to determine the lethality of fire against that unit and to modify the melee loss of the unit. Okay. It was somewhere. That was in the notes. That was in the notes, man. Yeah, cavalry. So 6. Horse has heavy padding with extra head protection mail. Rider has heavy padding with full body mail head coif, optional shield and hand mail glove protection. So that, it's explained there what kind of armor they're wearing. They're heavy. They have a quality B and they have a +2, I guess, because this guy is within command range. Yeah. And he's also in charge of everything here. Quite long command range, but I think the hex is. So is this a 10? Not sure if this is 10 minutes. We can look at the parameter data. Yeah, 10 minutes, and that was when a hex was 40 meters. So he has quite a long 160 meters. It would be. Command radius, so that's pretty good. This guy has a huge command radius. He's Count Raymond the Fourth. Raymond's division. He's in charge of this whole thing here. And this guy, Protector Godfrey. Okay, that's the main man of the hour there. Okay, so there's quite a few commanders. These guys don't have. Yeah, they do. They have this guy here. So that unit should be detached. Yeah, it's detached. Okay. So, haven't explored if it's possible to do melees and stuff, even if you're detached in this game. It could be possible that you can. Since there's so few commanders and stuff. Not sure, though. It usually is that you can't, but... It would be fun to figure that out and see that. Where's that command? Combat? No, it would be command. Something with command. Fortresses. All right. Can't find it now. Here we go. No, it's command menu. Okay. Here we go. Detached units. Yeah, a unit is considered detached when it is outside the command radius of the immediate superior officer, normally a brigade commander. The leader's detached status is irrelevant for determining this. So the leader can be detached from his main commander, but the forces under his command should not be, thus allowing the battalions to be assigned to guard remote locations away from the main army, but still be a fully functional command. Also, when the no detached melee option rule is in effect, then the detached unit, yeah. So you gotta have the no detached melee rule engaged. That's right, and I'm not sure if that's actually a default rule. Exactly. So it's not actually a default rule in this game. So that usually is clicked, or if you are detached, you can't perform melees and stuff. So it's kind of different, I would say. Yeah. So yeah, what else was I saying before? The hit and run tactics are new for like these mounted archers. Only the Arab forces can do this. So they could ride up, fire the bows, and then depending on how many movement points they have, they can sort of retreat back. So they have movement 20. So I can't move them now actually since it's the Crusaders' turn. But in the scenario, it's sort of the scenario is built around for you to actually see certain things. How they, like these guys here are basically in big trouble because these knights are all lined up for a charge, and they're going to smash these guys because they have basically no armor. They're light horses. These guys are pretty heavily armed. They have lancers. They have big shields and stuff, and armored horses. They're just going to go like battering rams, tanks, smash into these guys here. So obviously there will be different kind of tactics involved here, playing the Arabic forces, for instance. As you can see, they have like defenders on the walls. They're actually in line formation, which will increase their fire rating and stuff. Here you have some spearmen. So different kind of forces involved. Yeah, cool, huh? So there's also, I think there's a couple of campaigns that comes with the game. There are you have the first and the second Crusade, so they actually have these campaigns in here. You could play a whole campaign, either the first Crusade. Let's just try that up, and let's just save it as something. So then they have the battles lined up, and you get to play them in order, I would imagine. Second Crusade would be different battles there. Damascus, ending with Damascus. So pretty cool. There's campaigns as well. Let's just have a look at selection again. So it does tell you how they are programmed. So this is intended to be played as Crusader Alliance against the Islamic Alliance AI or head-to-head. So definitely different takes on that. I think most of them seems to be scripted. I think so. I haven't gone through them all. So this is what's this? Battle of Dorylium. So intended to be played as Crusader Alliances against the Islamic Alliance AI. This will provide a greater challenge for solitaire play. Additionally, this scenario can also be played from either side against either side, against the AI, or head-to-head, or PBM. So I think there's like 64 scenarios in this. Obviously, lots of different kinds of engagements, but also very variants of different battles. So pretty cool. There's some pretty big. I think there's some pretty big ones here as well. Like this is actually big. The Siege of Nicaea. It's like 70 turns. It's quite an endeavor there. But many are, 50 turns there. You got lots of like smallish scenarios as well. That's 60 turns. Siege of Arta. So yeah, all in all, a very, very here. Look at this, Siege of Damascus, 380 turns, man. This scenario is the full Siege of Damascus. It will start with the identical troop disposition as those you will see 24th of July scenario. Historically, the additional forces sent to aid Emir of Damascus did not arrive until after Crusaders had decided to withdraw. This is the aside from some more local aid coming from Bakwa Valley and other nearby areas. So see it. That is probably a shoot scenario. That. Oh, look at this. Yeah, look at this. Look at the size of this thing, man. So you have Damascus. So kind of small scale combat going on here. I like it. It's the big river here, Barada River. And here you have the all these forces arriving here. Baldwin's 1st Battalion. Yes, skirmishers. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? You got crossbowman here as well. Yeah. So pretty cool game. Hope you guys are going to be enjoying this and try this out and get it from the store there. It's a really nice game. So probably going to end it here. I think I've touched upon most of the new features in this game that comes, but true test is to play it and stuff. Might do. I'll find something and try it out. I think it's going to be fun. I like the setting. I like the era. And I like the idea of these games because there is so much they can cover now. They really have expanded their not Renaissance, Musket and Pike series have really become quite a collection these days. Before they only had the Renaissance there. That was the old title there, and this 7 Years' War came along, and now they have expanded all this. So, and then the Sword and Siege. I think it's going to be something that they're going to put a lot of effort into to make some cool titles in, man. So I'm going to end the video here, man, and I hope you guys are going to be enjoying it. And I will do a Let's Play, of course, coming up. So like and subscribe and stuff, and I will see you guys in the next part. Have a good one.